Your weekend at Effy's never has to end. Join us on the Patreon and get access to all the bonuses. I'm talking extra episodes, early access, fun furry friends, merch discounts, and wait, is that unique art coming right to my house in the mail? There are so many ways to support. Just go to weekendateffys.com. Join the club, hang out with everybody, ask the questions you want to ask of the podcast, and see how much more Weekend at Effy's you can fit into your life. There's so much there, and you're going to love it. And it's the only way to support Effy on Patreon. Weekendateffys.com. Come hang out. I can't believe it's another Weekend at Effy's with someone who I have spent many years of my career with, who I've spent many events with, and the NWA now is going to contain both of us. This is Pollo Del Mar on Weekend at Effy's. Weekendateffys.com. You would have already gotten this interview. You would have gotten it early. Buckle up, because we're going to talk about everything, and I don't think you understand. Pollo Del Mar knows about everything. He was like, can't you just do it at the venue tomorrow? And I was like, no, I can't do it at the venue tomorrow. Come into town early, boy. You're back. Get on the schedule.
Yeah, he because of the fact that I do all their press, like I was like, they are, some of them are more challenging than others.
Yeah.
Like Kerry takes his own initiative and does his own shit. I don't really do anything for him.
Yeah, but I can also kind of bribe Kerry to come over here and talk it. And I got to be honest, all my interactions with everyone with NWA so far have been, y'all are on top of your stuff. And I've gotten a little communication with the people at Comet, and I think they're like, we're ready. Let's take this thing. Let's go. Because that's a pretty new partnership for NWA, right?
Yeah. We just launched May 1st with them. So.
And they have a lot of, for me, I don't care if I have to watch ads. I'm going to have to watch ads anywhere. Like I just had Paramount Plus on and I have to watch ads. And I'm going, well, if Comet, if Tubi, if, what's the other one? Pluto.
Friggin'
YouTube. If y'all have the stuff on there, why am I going to pay for anything extra when, like, I was watching Columbo. I'm like watching season 3 of Columbo right now, which is free. And Comet also has all the horror movies. Comet has all the old horror movies on it.
I mean, so the interesting thing is my experience with this switch over to Comet is, first of all, our numbers are proving
crazy.
They're crazy. They are. They're extraordinarily good. And people are questioning that, which I do understand why they would question it, because we sort of came out of left field. But what they need to understand, though, is Comet is a channel that's available, number one, worldwide, because you can watch live on their website. On your phone. And it's available for people who don't even have cable, and people don't understand.
Well, that's how
I think that we get so set. I mean, I know that, for example, that if you said, 20% of houses don't have internet or something, I'd be like, what? Because I can't fathom it. But the truth of the matter is, not every home has cable television. It's expensive.
Like
it's a luxury.
People. And also, like, what does it mean to have cable television anymore when I can get Paramount plus Prime plus HBO Max plus, and it's like, by the time I start getting channels, I'm like, girl, I don't need anything else to watch.
Effy, I don't even own a TV.
I
don't own a TV.
I'll download the free apps. And you know what's great? I'm not going to put over like Apple products specifically, but on Apple TV, if I connect all my streaming services to the search, whenever I search something and it is on Tubi or Comet or, whatever these services are, it shows me right away that I can find it there. So I'm never like, I have to go search for that. I don't know. Comet's been great.
They've also been great because they...
Are we in? We're in? Oh, my God. We're here with Pollo Del Mar. I want to do an official introduction. This is what I figured would happen, too, because of all the guests, I feel like I've known you in so many capacities and so long, and you've seen me at my most messy, my most stressed, my most trying my hardest. And I feel like if anybody knows, like, the real Taylor and Effy, and if I know you, I feel like we've had experiences together, but you... See, I told you, Bebop. You specifically...
I feel it, Bebop. I feel you, girl.
...are someone who, like, I have to give a multi-hyphenate to introduce you because you're so many things. You're a journalist. You're a reporter. You're a press agent. You're a star of TV. You're a drag entertainer. You're a professional wrestling figure and icon. You're a commentator. What... Did I miss? I missed a few, I'm sure.
I mean, I'm sure that there are...
You're a dancer.
I'm certainly not a dancer.
I think you're a dancer.
She's with a backup dancer. She doesn't love herself. What I think that any of your fan base will not know this, but before I came into the world of professional wrestling as again, I should say, as a personality of my own, like I was a journalist, and I am a journalist. I still have a column in Pro Wrestling Illustrated and write for them regularly.
Yeah, Pro Wrestling Illustrated,
I interviewed you.
issue.
I met you because I wanted to interview out professional wrestlers on a podcast I had, like, I don't even know,
years ago,
almost 15 years ago, something like that.
You started the podcast way long ago.
It was
you were
so
one of the
long ago.
first interviews that I had ever taken in wrestling. I was just on the come up, and you had noticed me. And I felt like you knew what you were talking about. Like, I was getting interviews then from like people, and it would be like they would just like read my online cage match or whatever.
I hate that.
And I felt like you, and also talking to somebody else who was gay and who was LGBTQ and who was, you know, locked into the scene. It felt like I was having a conversation I had sort of like been waiting to have with someone who knows.
Yeah, I think that's the beauty of it too. Like, and I find that to be the beauty of the fan base that we've cultivated. Like, you know, over the last many years, is that our fans, many of them are LGBTQ, but they're not like idiots to professional wrestling. They're pro wrestling fans who are LGBTQ, so they can talk about real things and you can have real conversations with them. And it's beautiful because it's wildly unexpected, and just like the characters that we've begun to present over the last decade plus, it's out of left field. People don't expect it, and it makes it much more interesting.
But I also feel like across wrestling, we in the LGBTQ spaces, I just noticed that we're taking more precaution and giving them exactly what they want, instead of, there's this idea in wrestling a lot of the time, and I kind of want to, you know, put a pin in the fact that you have some of the most wrestling knowledge I can imagine, and have streamed a lot of classic stuff and have the previous information where, like, as wrestling fans, a lot of things are references of things of the past that have worked, which makes sense. And I think in wrestling, regular wrestling, they're oftentimes trying to delay the gratification and delay getting to the thing, and that's old school build the story. But in the gay world, it sort of is like, these people have never had kind of anything from wrestling, so it was very easy for us to go, no, let's give them everything, and let's make sure they're getting their money's worth, and let's make sure these shows are extravagant, and that every part of it has, you know, some thought and some, nothing felt like it was just something thrown together to like, we need to fill 15 minutes. It's like everybody has their own lane, their own role, and we are able to go in, and the relationship that you said cultivated, it sort of becomes something that we can keep making them feel like not fools for coming back to it. Like, you know, WWE fans a lot of time were very forgiving of the companies maybe doing something wrong, or they screwed me on a storyline, or this doesn't make any sense. And it feels like the gay people that are coming and the LGBTQ people that are coming, we're making sure that when they leave, they go, oh, that was awesome. I got everything I wanted from that. I don't feel like I'm yearning for something else.
Well, I think that part of that is out of necessity, right? Because we don't have this weekly opportunity to do this, or even monthly opportunity.
We don't know when the next time will be all the time.
So every big gay brunch or every big gay event, you know, whether it's brunch or otherwise, we're going to give it all to you, because we don't know when we'll be back to do this again. So we've got to get the stories out there and get them told. And maybe we can have that opportunity to parlay that into something on an independent show somewhere. But we want you, the audience, to feel gratified and
well, and I think a lot of these people are coming to shows for the first time too.
Absolutely.
Which makes such a difference of, I get to give you our version of wrestling as your first taste of it, and then as you sort of parlay out, and I kind of remind people of this all the time, if you don't like all wrestling, it doesn't mean you're not a wrestling fan, and because you're a wrestling fan, it doesn't mean you have to like all wrestling. And to see these people come in and go, this version of wrestling, with the drama, with the costume, with the spectacle, with the silly, with the camp, it gives them a version of this wrestling where we go, we know what wrestling is, we know how to do it very well. We also have been to the clubs. We have been to the drag bars. We have been to the queer spaces. And we can give them the version of that like, I don't think ever is dismissive of pro wrestling, but I think is a heightened version that says we can be a specialty act and we can fit into any show. Like, don't act like the only shows you work are gay shows.
No,
you know
not at all. That's the minority of what I work.
The problem is we're so bright and colorful and exciting that when we come on the show,
it's a gay show.
Yeah, it's hard to not say it's a gay show.
Of course.
Because it's very, the audiences that feel comfortable coming in, you know, not only are they going to be more willing to participate by creating environments where they're safe, you're going to get people to pro wrestling that your show wasn't going to get. I feel like I'm talking my head off already. You're a journalist. You interviewed me, and I feel like since that moment, whatever that little like interview, and can people still find that interview?
I don't know. Like
we
that
should
was
go back
that was
and look.
so
because
long
how crazy
ago.
is it to do a throwback of like
Yeah.
here's what Pollo and Effy were talking about in 2017 or 18.
I wonder if I have that. I mean, it's something that podcast that it was on doesn't even exist anymore.
Right.
But it was, I mean, easily over 10 years ago.
Yeah, because it was someone where I was like, oh, you're like a real entertainer and real writer, and you've done like your resume's right there even back then, and you've added so much to it. But it's like I felt like, oh, this is someone who takes this seriously and isn't just looking at it like a sideshow and is going, I've been able to get published, I've been able to do this, and I'm also a beautiful woman in drag. And to have kind of both worlds, we've been able to like it was a no-brainer when I did the first Big Gay Brunch to be like, Pollo, get over here and do it.
It was second Gay Brunch.
Okay, well, the first
one in Indiana does not count, y'all, because I'm not on it.
Okay, here's why it counts. I'm going to say one thing for why it counts, because there's 100 reasons it doesn't. But I'm going to say there's one reason why it counts is Sunny Kiss, her versus Cassandro.
Yeah.
Cassandro unable to do in-ring work anymore, but has recovered so much from the stroke that they had. And I've, talked to them a little bit, but that match to me, more so than any other match on that, which like I'm not even allowed to show the match that I was in on that show with Marco Stunt anymore. But okay, so wait, so you were 2 in Tampa. That was your first Big Gay Brunch?
Yeah.
To me, it felt like you were always there.
So
in my heart.
I by the way, I tease about it, but the first time that there was a Big Gay Brunch in Indiana, I saw that, and for me, it was like, I must be part of this. And the beauty of me being able to sit here and say that is that I firmly believe that as new wrestlers come into the scene that are members of the LGBTQ community, they will see Big Gay Brunch 7 or 8 or whatever,
right,
11, and be like, I must be part of that. And I think that is the precedence that we're setting, is that we are establishing something that tells people that there is something that they can be part of, that they can really be part of, whether that's a performer or a fan alike. And I think that's amazing. Or
somewhere in the middle, because I'm going to tell you, it's called Effy's Big Gay Brunch. And to me, it was always sort of like a wink nod of like, I'm going to put myself all over this. And then when you watch the show, the original idea was whenever you watch the show, Effy's going to be in the silliest match on the card, and everything else that you see here is highlighting and making in the right spot for the LGBTQ performers that maybe you were just learning about or just seeing, and always having it be like Effy. But when you watch the show, it's like so many other people, because that event doesn't happen without a lot of hands on deck.
There's a lot of
There's
people
been
there.
times where like, y'all have had to put up with me when I've been in a very stressful time or situation. And God bless your patience and grace and sweetness in all of those moments, because it is so rewarding to look around you and see, your queer brothers and sisters and your queer family picking up the slack where you can't do it, saying, baby, I get you were being a little bit of a brat. We still need to get this done and do it, because there is a bigger play here where even when Billy Dixon's running shows that they're doing, or Chic is running shows that she's doing, or you're doing shows in the Bay where you're like a very big part of it, wherever we're doing it, there's a bigger play of like, we have to keep normalizing that this is the best version of pro wrestling, that if your pro wrestling doesn't have inclusion and have diversity and have different people, it sucks, actually. Not even just saying because it doesn't have it, but it feels like having you take care of things or jump in there, everybody is working towards a common goal and not just working towards, I have to make sure my thing is good.
Yeah, going back to something that you said just a few minutes ago about how people, if they feel like if they don't like a certain kind of wrestling, they're not a wrestling fan or whatever. I often counter that mentality, because there's a lot of people who I don't consider to be pro wrestling fans particularly, but they are avid viewers of WWE. And I'm like, well, there's a difference between being a WWE fan and a fan of professional wrestling. For me, what it means to be a pro wrestling fan is that if I were anywhere in the world and I were flipping through the channels on the TV in a hotel room and I saw pro wrestling, whether it's WWE, whatever it is, I would stop and watch it. And I have a long track record of doing that as a child, because growing up, my family had a satellite girl. I just dated myself. We had a satellite dish.
No.
In the yard, and we would get Lucha Libre, and they were speaking Spanish. I didn't have I'm 6, 7 years old. I didn't have a clue what was going on, but it was wrestling, and I would watch it and be interested in it because it's wrestling and because I'm a wrestling fan. It didn't have to be WWE branded or NWA branded, which was my favorite, certainly growing up. Or, now you see this kind of like intense tribalism, which has always existed, but not in the entirely toxic way that I think it does now. But there's truly a difference between somebody who is a fan of an individual brand and a fan of professional wrestling.
Whenever I see anyone talk in any way that is tribalistic towards the company, all I can think is like, oh, they're not actually wrestling fans. Because every wrestling fan you talk to, no matter how they feel about what a company's doing or what this is, if there's good pro wrestling, like the Grande Americano thing they just did that everybody's putting over. I saw somebody today being like, they can do one good match and now you like WWE, and it's like, no, guys, we actually don't care most of the time like what the company is or who the people are. If they're doing good wrestling and somebody goes, you should have seen this match, it's incredible, whatever the company is, whatever the style of wrestling, I as a wrestling fan want to go to it. And so I think what people conflate is like, if you really like wrestling, and you're not just a WWE fan or just a Effy's Big Gay Brunch fan, there's some people who just watch, certain
Absolutely
stuff like
correct.
that. We're like, I think at its core, it's a different thing to be like any kind of pro wrestling I want to be a part of. I was talking to my friend last night, Matt Watkins, who's a photographer for a lot of stuff in Atlanta, and he works with Mucho Lucha here in Atlanta, and they're running shows in Georgia and South Carolina that are getting 2,000, 3,000 people at them with Lucha Libre. And I'm going, these people don't realize that Mexicans that live in our country are still watching Lucha Libre here. And when they bring these guys in from CMLL or from AAA or from working Mexican indies, there's so many people that are still going to go to these shows that aren't going to WWE house shows. They're not going to AEW. They don't tune in for those things, but they're diehards for Lucha Libre.
Or that kind of environment also is it's a party, a festive environment, and people want to go be part of that. And like, I look at places like, at home, I work with Underground Wrestling Alliance in San Francisco and the Greater Bay Area.
Yes, you have. A little hot water.
With Hood Slam, places like that, where it is professional wrestling, but the environment is so much fun that you can literally just say to your friend, like, don't worry about why we're going. It's like, it's just an amazing
you got to see
time.
this crazy thing.
Yeah, you have to see this. You have to be part of it. And then the crazy part is, like, they find themselves there, and the next thing you know, they're screaming loud like everybody else is because they're just having a blast.
Well, like,
and then they're a wrestling fan.
It's so much fun to just let it out.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's so much fun to let it out.
I love it.
And I am very excited that you've gotten to be a part of so many of these Big Gay Brunches. And going back to number 2, like, you've kind of been there for the ride.
I have.
And, I mean, you know better than anybody. We have always done whatever we have to do to get it done.
Big Gay Brunch number 2, easy. Y'all, is my... has Tampa, Florida, in the middle of a torrential, horrendous rainstorm. Like, it was like so hot for us, and then immediately afterwards, it's like a hurricane, quite literally.
That afternoon.
That was my first time doing the show, but it's one of my favorite memories.
You remember they didn't have the locker room open when we got there?
Oh yes, I remember.
You know why, right? Because someone held up the locker room the night before until 5 a.m. And said, you kids embarrassed yourselves, and they wouldn't let us in the building the next day. Ask MLJ. Ask MLJ about who held up the locker room until 5 a.m. with a gun.
Boyo, cut him off. Cut him off.
What?
Just cut him off a little bit more.
Okay. So the Big Gay Brunch 2 is one of my favorite memories because we stayed in what I called Wrestle House, and it was like, it felt like a reality TV show because it was you, me, Chic, oh my gosh,
Billy,
Ashton. Crap, there was like
Pamela. Was Miss Pamela Westbrook?
No, she didn't stay with us. No, it was MV Young.
MV Young. I just saw MV. What a stud! I saw him last weekend. Okay, cut me off. You're right.
So
you're right.
I mean, it was amazing. It was like living in a reality TV show.
Yeah.
For 2 days, and I remember because I'm me at all times, y'all. So I woke up extra early. It was all perky after being, I slept wrapped in the area rug underneath the kitchen table. Do you remember this?
No, I don't.
Because
I'm pretending I don't.
He remembers because I was sleeping on a couch in the living room, and they came in at 3:00, and they were like, "We don't have any place to sleep," and I was like, "I'll go take care of it." So I got out of my bed and let them.
Who came in at 3:00?
You and MV. Came in at 3:00 in the morning because I was like, where are you coming from? Because brunch was like 7-8 hours away. I was like, where are you coming from? They're like, we just had our last match. So I got up and went and wrapped myself in an area rug, slept underneath the kitchen table so nobody stepped on me, and then got up extra early and went and got us donuts and cookies and all these snacks from Walmart. And I was like, here, y'all, it's breakfast. And they're like, you're giving this to gay pro wrestlers with body dysmorphia before a show? I didn't care. I'm a fat bitch. I ate. I did not care.
Listen, I always keep you close after a brunch because I'm never hungry right away. Like I need the adrenaline to die down, but sometimes you got to go wait in the line for Crystal's cheeseburgers.
I mean, you know, remember that? Oh yes, I do. Like middle of the night it was you, me, Allie.
Yeah.
Who else was it?
I don't know. So maybe
Billy?
Chic. Maybe
Chic was definitely there. She was definitely there.
Eating Crystal burgers.
So he mentions like that I will sort of step in behind the scenes. I've seen him definitely be very, very bratty before a brunch. Like, I mean, I don't want to like I don't take it personally. He's by the point of brunch, he's already done like 20 matches.
They never like occur at a time where I'm not also wrestling.
Never been asleep, for days at a time. And so I'm just like, what do you need me to do?
Yeah.
What can I do? What can I make it better? Tell me what you need. Tell me what you need.
Or sometimes just doing stuff and knowing like, I'm not waiting for an answer on this. Yeah, I'm a grown adult.
Yeah.
I need to go grab this stuff or I need to grab it or somebody needs to get this person from the airport or whatever. I think you got Peter from the airport in Chicago that one time.
Chicago is man, I hate Chicago for that purpose. Like I don't hate Chicago in general, but
no.
The Chicago airport shit show. We were far from the airport.
Yeah.
Every road in Chicago is a toll road. It was 1 trillion degrees inside that friggin' indoor soccer field. Arena? I was like sweating my tits off. It was misery.
Oh, and we ran that building 2 more times.
Yeah, we sure did.
2 or 3. Well, I think Peter came to the second one that was in Chicago, and then we did 3 in Chicago.
Yeah,
that last Chicago show, we got stiff so hard on the building that I don't think I made any money.
How are you going to have a building that's hot like that, and they have all these big ginormous fans? Not one of them worked.
Not one of them.
Not one.
Do you remember the last time the third one we did there? They kicked us out for the quinceañera. Like it was like we had just finished, and they were like, "You need to be out of here by 2:30."
We have a quinceañera.
Yeah, they double booked us with the quinceañera instead of being like, "Thank you so much for selling literally 100 bottles of champagne, making mimosas." We did not have a drink deal on. I also had to get everyone out of there by 2:30 p.m.
Yeah, that venue, not my personal favorite that we've done. I loved when we were in Dallas.
Dallas was incredible. I feel like
Dallas getting to Dallas was a nightmare for me. Remember that's when
with all the flights and stuff.
At I took a connecting flight from San Francisco to Seattle to connect direct to Dallas because I was on Alaska Airlines. And when I landed in Seattle, I went to check and see where in the terminal I had to go for my gate. And as I was watching, it said canceled. And Alaska had gone, all the pilots had gone on strike. And I was stuck for 36 hours in the Seattle airport. I could not leave because you had to be available if anything opened because I was trying to get out.
Yeah. You want to be right there in case they can get you on the
Absolutely correct. So I was sleeping, eating, living, quite literally living in the Seattle airport for 1.5 days. And I was so mad because I'd had that Dallas Cowboys cheerleading outfit made custom. And I was like, I'm not missing this.
No. And you didn't. You made it.
Right. And just in time, honey.
And I needed you to make it because that was a crazy brunch show. That building was crazy. I just remember at one point at that brunch, I'm looking around the back and I'm sitting waiting for the match to start, and Fandango has taken his shirt off and is skateboarding around with his 6-pack abs. And I was like, booking shows rules.
Do you know that before I was paired up with the Thrillbilly Silas Mason in the National Wrestling Alliance, they had wanted me to manage Fandango.
Yeah?
Yeah. That was the first pitch they made.
I'm
number
one so obsessed with the fact that he's completely retired now, but he did brunch twice because he did the Philadelphia one with Tyler Breeze as well, with me and Allie. And he is just like, it's so nice to have a show that highlights LGBTQ people, but then to have these like former WWE stars and, you know, Fred Rosser came in and Tyler Breeze came in, and like having these people come in, even having a Zack Sabre Jr. come in, and not only are they giving the fans what they want in a gay wrestling show, they're also willing to kind of do whatever it takes to sort of support the cause. And it's been really refreshing to work with certain people, especially that have come in on the brunch and understand that like we're doing this for people that you maybe don't normally get in front of, and people are here to have fun, and people want to feel safe in this environment. And, you know, there's times where I see the gays lusting. Like if things sneak over to gay Twitter and they are lusting at some of these boys,
of course,
they don't really know how to handle it. But a lot of these guys have figured out like, no, the gay fans just want to support you, and you're getting catcalled the same way you catcall women. So now you can, you want
to really be grossed out? Go look at the comments on any woman wrestlers.
Oh my God.
Social media. They're so gross. It's just
horrifying. I'll see people at shows with the girls being like, you didn't answer my DM. And I'm like, oh, I'm so glad I don't have to deal with this.
Yeah, before I got involved in the world of wrestling, like I would watch like a normal fan and say the things that normal fans say on my social media. So there were so many people that I was like, oh my God, so-and-so is so hot, you know, like on my social media. And then 3 years later, I'm like working with them and I'm like, please God, don't let him remember that I said that. Please God.
No, they never remember.
Thank God.
They never remember anything. There's so many cases where like I've had internet run-ins with people that when we talk in person, they're like, everything's smoothed over and it's fine.
One would hope.
Can we jump back for a second? Yeah. So let's go. I want to go all the way back because I know you for drag excellence too.
Yes.
And you have many roles, but you've done drag. I don't want to age you.
No, I celebrated 20 years of drag.
Incredible.
In April 27th, 2006, Pollo Del Mar was born. So this year I celebrated 20 years of drag.
Wow.
And it's very weird to think about because number one, it just went by really, really fast. And it's very challenging for people to understand and comprehend because I'm clearly 24.
Yeah.
So they...
How many years in Pollo years?
So, I mean, it's like... it was a situation where I think that the part that stuns me the most is when I realized that to the rest of the world... I have been a character for 20 years.
Yeah,
you know,
a singular character for 20 years.
Yeah, and it's so that's nuts to me, and it's something that it took me 7 years to even get good at what I was doing. So,
well, how long did it take you to bring Pollo into like out of just the drag world and like into the wrestling world? Like, what does that path look like?
I've been doing professional wrestling now for almost 11 years, and since 2015. But the crazy thing that people tend not to know is that I did wrestling before I ever even came out.
Wow.
And when I was
way beforehand.
Yeah. So when I was in college, I did my first couple of gigs as a pro wrestling manager for a local independent wrestling company in Cleveland, Ohio. And I felt so uncomfortable in that environment. I was young. I don't want to say I was sheltered, but I certainly was sheltered by comparison with what we know that a lot of indie wrestling can be like in terms of the drinking and the drugging and the whatever. I had been pretty sheltered compared to that. I was really uncomfortable with myself and my sexuality. So I did a couple shows, got freaked out, stopped. And then I circled back to that same company a couple years later once I had gotten out of college with my broadcasting degree, and I did color commentary or play-by-play with them for their local Cleveland-based internet. Well, it wasn't an internet show. It was like a public access TV show.
That's kind of incredible.
And then years later, the drag came in, and I realized, like, why not put this together? Like, now I've got a recognizable character that I've created, not something that they created.
You also have the ability to know how to like work a crowd and work a room, and you're not afraid to get the heat too if you need to.
I actually super love it. Most places, if they're thinking about bringing me in, don't want to bring me in as a heel. I think that they feel it would be homophobic or transphobic or something like that. And I'm like,
we bring in the drag queen to be evil.
And maybe some of the audience does respond in that capacity, but I think you'll run into that no matter what kind of a character you play. I love being a heel because, but it's very challenging because in the culture that we've cultivated today, where people are more often than not more supportive of drag, like as soon as I come out, if I say something evil to you, the audience is like, oh yeah, girl, she read me down. Oh, she read me the house down boots. And I'm like, you're really making my...
They love a shady queen.
Yeah, exactly. So, but the moment I walk out through a curtain, I remember when I went to Albuquerque for the first time for Duke City Championship Wrestling, I was there to be a heel. And the minute I walked through the curtain, the audience like went up. And then the only way I can successfully do it is if they consistently give me a microphone.
Yeah, because then you can be like, Hicks.
Yeah,
shut up.
You don't deserve me. Yeah, I said how my career has hit the skids so much that I'm here in the meth capital of the Southwest. I'll never know.
And then they all turn on you.
And then they were all like, how dare you, it's fentanyl.
But you look gorgeous.
Yeah, exactly.
You look beautiful.
So for me, I love that, but I love being adored too. So
yeah, and I think it's hard not to adore you. And I adore you so much, but I also like, sometimes I think, especially when I become friends with someone, I sometimes will put them in situations on shows that seem a little wild, and I have definitely put you in danger a few times. I feel like,
oh my God,
within Big Gay Brunch history, and especially alongside someone like a Pero, where like I feel like you and Pero have this long running feud that I just keep like kind of
needling,
yes.
twisting the knife a little
and
bit. Yeah.
At the most recent Big Gay Brunch, you teamed up with Priscilla Kelly and Cosmo Queen of Melrose to seemingly foil Pero's plans.
Yes, with Bear Bronson.
Bear Bronson.
That was so unexpected and so cool. It was such a fun experience. Priscilla Kelly is killing it in MLW right now.
Yes.
Good for her.
Yes, good for
Bear Bronson.
Good for her.
Absolutely killing it in TNA as half of their World Tag Team Champions. Congratulations, Bear Bronson.
Yeah, the system.
And then Cosmo Queen of Melrose, like I don't know. I didn't know her before that moment, but she is the moment. Like she's such a
can I side note something crazy here? That night I got to clusterfuck and I had talked to Brett and been like, look, I'm beat to shit. Let the girls have fun. I'll help out and agent and grab people and do whatever, but I don't want to wrestle. He was like, it's fine. And then someone came up to me and they said, X-Pac and D'Lo Brown need to see you. And I was like, what? Like they said it, they put it in a way where it was like, okay, I feel like I'm getting called to the principal's office. And I'm like, I'm good with both of these guys. And I get there and X-Pac's like, did you have Cosmo on your show this morning? I was like, Cosmo Queen of Melrose? And he was like, yeah. And he was like, her and Joni used to be best friends, talking about China when they, because X-Pac and China had a relationship, and was talking about she had designed a lot of her clothes when she was coming out of her WWF run. And then X-Pac was like, yeah, she designed some of my ring entrance gear for certain things. And I was like, it's so crazy that in this small world that like, I think I'm just doing a crossover thing where like, Brett and Giancarlo, I don't know if you know Giancarlo, who's with AEW. Yeah. They were such fans of Cosmo, and we, me and Allie kind of, don't tell the secret, me and Allie kind of went out of our way to invite her and bring her in and be like, the wrestling world's excited for you. And then realizing that like, it's all kind of connected, it's all kind of crossed over. And that's why I was like, look, even if y'all are from different worlds, like having you two together on stage to foil Pero's plans.
We're not really from that different of worlds, because she's also... She came out very publicly sober, and I am very, very publicly, very, very long time sober.
Well, and thank God, because I think you've saved my life. Do you remember when we almost got arrested in Philadelphia and you handled the situation flawlessly?
Oh my God, yeah. When we didn't know that we couldn't turn, and we turned, and they were like, oh.
And they were waiting. So we're leaving. I had just finished spring break and you were in town, and we stayed for most of For the Culture, but I was like, girl, I need to go to bed. And you were staying at the hotel with me. I had the rental car, and you're driving me back, and you're just like, oh, I'm going to go to Wawa. Normal, regular turns to me.
Absolutely.
Like just how many left turn into the Wawa.
How many of you it was a right turn and then a left turn. Oh. Like how many of you have come to a complete stop at a stoplight and taken a right? That's what we did.
Yeah.
It was apparently illegal.
Illegal.
No sign that says it, but it was illegal.
And I was just like, because I don't think we had anything problematic, but we were at the Wawa, and
I certainly didn't.
You you just talked to that cop for like 2 minutes and he was like, okay, y'all have a safe night. You can't do that. And I was like, you're the queen of calming the situation now. You read the room on that instantly and handled it.
Well, the thing with and what I did with that is like something I try to do in my day-to-day life is I said, did I do something wrong? He said, yes, you can't make it. I said, I honestly didn't know that wasn't permittable. I did it. So whatever we have to do is like, you know, I accept responsibility. I'm not from here. I didn't know that was against the rules. You tell me how to handle this. We're here for an event. I just need to get us back to the hotel.
Yeah.
So,
He's
and
been
he was so chill about it, thankfully.
Yeah,
but
we could have.
Yeah, I could have. I mean, if I'd have been arguing and whatever, he'd have probably had a very different. But I was like, you're right. I don't know what to tell you. Like,
yeah.
I effed up.
Well, yeah, and also we just like visibly, it's not even a gay thing at that point. We just kind of look like crazy people because we've been at these shows, we've been doing things, we've been getting you to Philly. Like it's just a hectic time in general to deal with. So Vegas this year is our second. It was our return to Vegas.
Yes.
Last year Vegas was a lot tougher to me personally. I really found more joy this year.
It felt so much more relaxed this year.
I felt like everybody knew what they needed to do. You know, I didn't leave that hotel the whole time. I just stayed there.
Oh my God. I don't think I told you this story.
Uh-huh.
So I get to Vegas the day before brunch. I had another show that morning. So I literally drove all night long. Get to Vegas, did a different one show, got out of drag, and I ate and all this stuff, and I messed around, and like not messed around with people, but like messed around in the city.
It's Vegas.
It was
Vegas,
right?
Vegas.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so then about 8 o'clock at night, I go to check into my hotel, which I've fully paid for in advance, reserved, paid for, whatever. And I get there, and I had lost my wallet on a previous trip.
No.
And so it's fine. I didn't think anything of it because I had my passport with me and I like all this stuff.
Okay, so you weren't
right.
showing
yeah,
up
like,
like,
I'm
my wallet's not.
But
okay.
but the thing is, like, the woman's like, oh, we can't take we don't take tap pay in Vegas. And I was like, excuse me? I was like, I've never, because I had $100 deposit.
Yeah. And so you just need to click the card.
And I was like, okay, so I go, fine, no worries. Same thing I just said with the cop. I'm like, okay, so here is a photo of my credit card that's attached to this that we can just manually enter the numbers in. Nope, we can't manually enter the numbers in. I was like, okay, so I have cash. I'll give you 3 times as much cash as the down payment. I'll come back in the morning and get that. Nope, we can't take cash. I was like, so all you can take is a credit card. Long story, already short. By the time this all goes down, and then by the time I got my refund from them, it was almost midnight, and it's Vegas WrestleMania weekend. Every place I tried to find was 3 times as much, like hundreds and hundreds of dollars more.
Right, because it's right then.
Effy, how come I went for the very first time ever on Airbnb and I found something listed as a luxury tent in somebody's backyard, and I was like,
luxury tent?
It was a cute photo. It had like Christmas lights on the inside. I was like, I'll try it. I'll see what it's like. So I show up. It's in a nice neighborhood. There's a Mercedes and a Cadillac parked in the front yard. But there was like what appeared to be like unhoused people sort of milling around out front. I was concerned for my car, but then the guy comes out and ushers me in. And as soon as you walk through the gate, it was a literal tent city. Airbnb, do better. It was a tent city. It looked like a soup kitchen.
Wait, so it wasn't just you there at the beautiful
luxury no. Tent. It was like many. Quote,
did you call me on this evening?
I did not.
You should have.
I was mortified, and I didn't want to be like, oh my God, save me, you know.
No. I'm so sorry you didn't call me. That's crazy.
I took a video of it and I sent it to my bestie.
Did you stay?
Yes, I stayed. Yes, I stayed. And there was a communal bathroom. They're like, this. I was like, look, I just have to go to the restroom. Can you show me where the restroom is? First of all, I walked in on 2 different people dropping a deuce in 2 different bathrooms.
Okay, they could have been doing worse.
I was like, could you please? But it looked like a soup kitchen in there, and I just.
But it was a deal.
It was a deal. It was the only deal in town.
Somebody had a bed at the Luxor.
I felt like the fucking Princess in the Pea, Effy, because there was no actual bed. It was 3 twin mattresses piled on top of each other. So anytime you would roll, the whole bed would sway. from side to side. I was like,
you were. Please tell me this is real. This is real.
I took a video of it.
I swear to God,
and sent it to
call me next time.
Send it to my BFF. I said, I'm either getting murdered or bed bugs, possibly both tonight. I'm not sure which. So yeah, I stayed, and then why do you think I was at brunch so damn early? I wanted out of there. I wanted out. I slept until 6, and I got up and I went.
Said I'm out of
I'm
here.
out. I was there from 1 till 6.
Yeah, because you were there bright and early. I was like, all right, hell yeah,
absolutely.
we're right on it. And you said I was not in the right place.
But I was so tired because I hadn't slept the night before, like I'd driven all night from San Francisco to Vegas.
You just said I finally made it to a bed. I'm done.
It was as good as it gets.
Something to be learned from that of these. These
bring a fucking credit card. Oh, sorry.
Well, yeah, that. But like some of these kids out on the road, I think they don't realize that like you have to go get it, and it is not easy, and it will break you if it can. But like those moments of glory I think are worth a lot of the sacrifices that we have to make a lot of the times. Where the life is not as comfortable as we would like.
Look, I get to live my dream. I told an acquaintance of mine just today. I was like, I'm going for work for 3 days in Georgia. I'll be home on Monday. And then he said, I hope, don't work too hard. And I kind of facetiously said, I love what I do, so it doesn't feel like work. But the truth is, like on a show day, whether it's Big Gay Brunch or when I'm with NWA on the road working like behind the scenes, a production assistant, and like doing our social media and stuff. Like it can be a 14, 15 hour work
or
day.
more.
And sometimes you're lucky because it's just one day of that. This weekend in particular, like I'm here today with you, and then
you're doing the Augusta show Sunday
yes,
too, right?
Augusta show. It's like back-to-back shows, and there's a couple hours, and so when I will get home from this on Monday,
I'm gonna actually off.
Oh my God, that's when I will collapse. That's when you have time to process how friggin' tired am I?
Yeah, like and how much you've accomplished in that time.
Yeah,
because a lot of times running these shows, you're walking a tightrope. And the fact is, if people are not on top of stuff at all hours of the time, before, after, during the show, then things can really go wrong quickly. And so you learn to just stay on and do it. You don't know what's going to pop up. You don't know what's going to change. You don't know who's going to
I'm usually the first one in the building and the last one out. Like I'm literally cleaning up things. But you know that from Big Gay Brunch. Like I'm sort of like the first one in.
But we also don't like to rush either, I think, which is good.
I just want to... I know what my skill set is, and my skill set is frequently keeping other people on track.
Yeah, so it's been a blessing.
So that is it's a blessing and a curse because I do remarkably well keeping other people on track, and then completely find myself way off in the weeds. And then I'm like, okay, they made their deadline, and I'm over scrambling in the corner, like trying to get done what I need to do.
Yeah, but you're hitting deadlines because you're doing so much stuff. I want to talk about Thrillbilly for a second.
Yeah.
I got to wrestle him for the first... I've known him for years, and I finally got to wrestle him. What a stud.
Absolutely correct.
What a stud. What a powerhouse. And I think what people don't recognize in wrestling a lot of times that they should is that when you have a little bit of ego and confidence in yourself, it makes you so much better at what you're doing. And it's not a bad thing. I'm not saying, oh, he's, full of himself in there. I'm saying that if you believe you can do stuff, the likelihood of you accomplishing it is great. And I feel like him on this NWA title run, it's almost like that title was made to be on him. And I was mad he beat me and NWA Chicago, but also what a stud.
Yeah. So Silas, I'm so lucky because when I got paired with Silas in NWA a number of years ago on air, we had barely met each other.
Yeah.
And
that can be a little daunting too when you're coming in as the drag valet.
Right, exactly. And they, they're putting us together, and we had happened to speak the night before at the hotel. He'd been super nice. And then the next morning they decided to put us together, and the chemistry was instant. It was instant. And even though what we portrayed on TV was not what was real in real life, there was such a fine line between that. People, even in the company, were like, what is really going on here?
Yeah.
Because, and the chemistry remains. Like, it's intense. It's palpable when we're together. I do all of his bookings. I handle all his PR. I'm basically his. I went from being his on-air manager to sort of his
real life manager.
And he is just. He makes it easy because I truly believe that he has everything that is necessary to be a global superstar. And if people are sleeping on him at this moment, they won't be for long.
Yeah, and I think once they start picking up on some of the matches too, but with the character stuff y'all were doing, he plays a really real world example of like this Southern guy that I've met before. And I'm thinking like, I've been on shows where like long ago I've had a drag queen with me on a show like as a valet, and these country guys who are like on the show or wrestlers or indie guys are very supportive but confused a little bit about what's actually going on, and they're just like, that's a real big lady you got with you, and you're like, it sure is, and they're like, she's kind of hot though, and you're like, yep, go with it, like whatever, and then you're like, oh, it's a drag queen, and they're like, I never seen me a drag queen, but that's pretty incredible. That's my beautiful girl. And it's like, there's a way to show to people with this kind of self-awareness of like, you don't have to, like, the obvious angle that you're looking at is not necessarily the angle. And to have y'all both be kind of aware of what you're doing, it makes it so much fun on screen when you guys were together. And I hope they put y'all back together. I know you're having fun behind the scenes, but you also have such a magnetism and charisma when you are in the gauge and in the ring and doing stuff that's added so much to the shows I've done that people are begging to see you.
I would love to come back on air. I've never made that my agenda with NWA. Like, I was sad when they split us up. It was I didn't feel that it was time for that split, but what I do understand, because I have a mind for wrestling, is that the timing for our split had to come secondary to the timing for the onset of this Southern Six formation with Kerry Morton and Silas Mason and Alex Taylor. And that was happening really organically in the moment, and they just wanted to try to capture that lightning in a bottle. We had something that I do believe, even though we didn't give them the ending that they wanted, what we have is a little more timeless, because it's, how many times on your favorite soap opera have that main couple gotten back together 10 years later?
Or someone walks back through the door after being gone
forever.
Yes,
I mean, we had that opportunity, but most importantly, to me, I would love to come back, but I've never made it my agenda because I am a team player. Like, I want the National Wrestling Alliance to succeed. I want NWA Power to succeed. I want people to tune in on Comet TV every Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern, because I love what we do. And as long as I get to be part of that team, I don't have to be a focal point of it. I would love to come back, because I agree with you. I have a strong audience out there who loves what I do as a character.
And it's nice to hear that you have other skills to offer value to the company. But I also think, like, if I have a company, the guys I have backstage, the people I have backstage, the people I have producing and editing, if I also know that they can get out there and do the thing, it's very helpful. Okay, we're going to throw it to the Patreon at weekend@effys.com, and we'll be right back. Pollo, we are back, and I've just, like, immediately, I'm not going to say the reason, but I've just been getting excited about NWA stuff. And I know we were talking about kind of your relationship with Thrillbilly, but we're about to have a big show in Atlanta for NWA.
We are.
NWA has crazy history in Atlanta. Have you performed? You've been to Center Stage before?
I've never been to Center Stage. I've never worked any wrestling at all, behind the scenes or in front of the scenes, in Georgia. So
in Georgia at all, the whole
none, zero. The only thing wrestling related that I ever did in Georgia is the time during COVID when I did a Twitch stream with you and Zicky Dice.
Wow, yeah.
That's the only thing I've done wrestling related.
Wait, you put us in drag, right?
Yes.
And
that was a nightmare.
Was beautiful?
Absolutely.
I don't know. I think this is, I always am like, I probably would make a very beautiful woman. I probably would feel some way about it. I'm so lazy. I'm barely a man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I put so much effort into my drag, and I put no effort into my effort.
But I felt.
I mean, look at me. Come on now, y'all. Like, of course, that's the beauty of drag too. Like, I think that no matter what you look like, you feel. Everybody always feels fierce. You know,
yeah.
Like, I feel fierce.
Well, yeah, and getting to see, because there is like the illusion of drag that gives a little bit. Where wrestling, okay, we have to like. People are always comparing wrestling and drag, and in my
they're very
opinion,
comparable. I think that pro wrestling is
there's
drag.
so many things that are similar to them, but there's also so many things with pro wrestling. like RuPaul's Drag Race has poisoned people's brains a little bit because of the battle, because of and so they conflate that even further with pro wrestling because they see drag queens having a battle and the match is like doing the lip sync for your life. When really I'm like, when I see Pollo Del Mar on a wrestling show, when I see any wrestler on a wrestling show, it's always paired and in conjunction with another person because it's a match or a conflict or a combat that is happening.
Right.
And in drag, sometimes I think you can just be yourself. Like people are just going to see a drag queen, but in wrestling, you're always a part of a group project.
Yeah, but I mean, I think so. People early in my career specifically were so surprised at the crossover, right? Because I am very clear to people. I'm like, I'm the first drag queen in pro wrestling. And what I mean by that is that I came from the world of drag before I came into the world of professional wrestling. Yeah, put that big.
Yeah, put that big.
Hold on. Do I have to work the shaft like this, like that? Is that how it works?
Full Shawn Michaels.
No. I don't want to work the shaft too much because I don't want this to end early. I know how to.
No. This is not ending early. We're here.
No. So early in my career, when I started to have success, people were shocked by that. Because it's counterintuitive that a drag personality would come into the world of professional wrestling, number one, and number two, that it would be well received and or successful. So that was something that was confounding to them. But what I tried to explain to people is that there are parallels in the business aspect of drag and in the business aspect of wrestling. And what I mean by that is when you are an independent contractor, when you're your own boss, like if you're a drag performer or a wrestler, if you're not motivated to get more work, you're not going to get more work. If you're motivated to get more work and go places and you market yourself and you push for that, you will have success in that capacity. And then when I go into, if I got booked to work here at a bar in Atlanta to do drag, I would show up on time. I'd be prepared. I would be cordial. I'd be good to work with. I would be professional, and I would
have a backup number.
Yeah, I would come ready to do whatever they needed me to do to make that person who's paying my bill that night happy. Same thing in the world of professional wrestling. What do you need me to do? What can I add that you maybe didn't want to ask for because you thought it would be above and beyond? How can I get out there and make the most of this moment so that it's memorable for you, memorable for your fans, and beneficial and something wonderful for me too. So those are parts of the wrestling world and the drag world simultaneously. But I also think that some of the drama that we see is very comparable.
Yeah.
Because everybody's out there looking for their next spot. There is a
high school level to the drama sometimes, but I think you made a great point about like showing up and being professional and doing this. I know even from our relationship blossoming that once I found out you could do this and this and this, and then seeing you at other shows where like you might be given a smaller role, but if you get that mic for a few minutes or you get the chance to be a part of something where like maybe you're going through a table, maybe you're just the manager for that moment, you make a maximal effort to like make those spots count.
That's right.
To make it what the show needs and to go like,
that is absolutely
hey,
right.
If you don't have any ideas, here's some other things I've done or here's some things I can do that they may not even be thinking of.
You kind of have to plant the seeds. That's my thought. And my favorite movie ever is Anti-Mame with Rosalind Russell. Have you
I've
ever
never seen this movie.
Okay. The movie is amazing.
Okay.
But
say it again.
Anti-Mame with Rosalind Russell. It's like
it's from like that.
Yeah. Darling, I'm your Auntie Mame. And so anyway, she's this very over-the-top character. I'm very Auntie-Mame, trust and believe.
Yeah.
But there's a scene in the movie where she gets cast as like a nothing in this play, but she wants to make the most of it. And it turns out to be catastrophic in the film, and it's hilarious in the film. But the point is that she's thinking bigger than that moment. And I think for myself, when I come in, my very first ever wrestling thing as Pollo Del Mar was, I was just literally the timekeeper. I was ding, ding, but I was a presence and they saw that I was a presence and then they offered me something more. And then I did that well without trying to kind of like self-aggrandize. I just did it well. It was memorable and they gave me more. And if I'm going to be out and my role is to manage somebody and I end up going through a table, I'm going to maximize that. And by that I mean it's going to be done well, I'm going to post about it everywhere. I'm going to get as many eyes on it.
You're going to make sure you know what you're doing too.
Yeah, and it looks great, and
yes.
It's a spectacle. Life is full of memorable moments. Professional wrestling specifically full of memorable moments. And sometimes I feel strongly that gets a bit lost in the world of wrestling that we live in now, because entire matches are just like spot, 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 spot. And I love that. But the problem becomes that if everything feels repetitiously like super high energy, there's nothing that can stand out, right? There has to be a low so that you feel the high.
Or at least like a shift in momentum to give people a chance to catch up to what they're looking at. You reminded me of a quote that Pero said one time. I was calling a match with someone, and it was not at a brunch or anything, and he goes, "You're going to have to change this match. I can tell Effy doesn't like it because there's not enough time to look at his face." And I sort of was like a little offended when I heard it. And then I thought about it and I was like, no, because if I have any character out there, I want the approach of here's the action that you're paying attention to. But like if Pollo goes to the table, what does that look like on her face? Is she suffering? Is she screaming?
Yes.
Is she squealing? Is she going? Or if you're about to go through a table, I want to get shots on why the person just got mad or what sent them into a tizzy, where like we do have to give the people time to process what they're actually seeing. And it doesn't mean that we can't do 100 other things, but knowing your role in those spots where you go, the best role for Pollo tonight is to cause this kind of mayhem or to have a mic and cut a promo or to go through a table. And you don't get to find out if you can be a part of those spots unless, okay, well, I can hit the bell too. Yes, and I can hit the music if you need that.
Well, there's a difference between action and the drama. The action is whatever, but the drama is the parts that lead up to that and the aftermath of it. That's the drama. And the drama is what keeps people coming back, because that's the telling of the story. And, we can go back to the legendary Rock and Roll Express, Ricky Morton, who the master of selling. It's he will turn something that's not high action into high drama because that arm wringer is about to rip his arm out of its socket. Oh, that figure 4 leg lock, which is kind of a boring move to watch because you're laying on the mat, is killing him. His leg is going to snap at any moment, but he refuses to give up. Like, that is the drama. The action is low in that moment, but the drama is high. And then you see something else where it's like that high impact over the top rope plancha or whatever. That's high action, but what's the drama behind it? Unless you get close so you can see what the people are doing or how they're responding afterwards.
And like having the through line to understand that the room you're in, we can sit backstage all day and have a plan, but if you're really doing this at a high level, you're going to be able to move with the room. You're going to be able to see that, like, oh, they're not paying attention yet. I can wait another 3 seconds before I do this.
Yes,
spot.
absolutely correct.
Or we can hold that stare a little longer so that they pull in, because a lot of times what you're not counting is people are checking their phones. People are talking about the thing that just happened. People are asking if there's a drink. And while it feels a little slow to us in the ring, I've never watched an instance where things have come across the way they needed to and thought, oh, that was really slow. I thought, I think back to even The Rock and Hogan staring off, and you go, when you watch it back, you're like, they just kept staring. But like, there are times when you need to stare. There are times for a rock bottom and a leg drop and a giant flying elbow. And then there are times where like, I need to stare.
But that is, again, that's the drama, right? Like, if the audience in that moment, and you're right, like there have been times where I know that I'm supposed to be doing XYZ, but the truth is that the audience isn't there yet. And so I need to get them there. Like, that's my job. And as a manager, a lot of your job outside the ring is that tease. Like, it's the foreshadowing and making them know what's going to come, but they don't know when.
Or they don't know to what degree.
Right, and they're sitting on the edge of their seat.
Inclination to further that along.
And sometimes you have to read the room, baby. You have to read the room.
And every room can be different. And thank God
I've read
some of
many
them
a
are
room. I will read the room down.
Yeah. Well, speaking of reading the room down, I kind of want to talk about, you are such a good commentator.
Thank you.
And I feel like not that like all commentators don't, but you really know how to drive the narrative in the way that you can tell the performers are doing it. And I think that like, it makes you better in wrestling, but it makes the matches better to have someone there who is attentive to not only like, yeah, you know all the move names and you know the history and you know like, oh, this is reminding me of Tully Blanchard's run in 80. Not like you can pull to the references, but also like sometimes they need the more overarching of just like, darling, she wants to kill him because of this reason, and setting the tone more.
Yes.
You're very good at that.
I am really lucky, and thank you for saying that, but I feel really lucky that is something I'm super passionate about to begin with, because I am a pro wrestling fan, but the amount of pro wrestling I watch is less than the amount of pro wrestling I listen to. And what I mean by that is I will turn it on, but I get busy. I get like, I'm doing other things. I have to go get something out of the kitchen, or I've like the dogs are bothering me, but I'm still hearing it. And if the commentary is very good, I know exactly what's going on. And furthermore, if there is a story that has to be told, you have to interweave that. And a big part of that, sometimes when I don't love listening to commentary, is when they're talking about something entirely extraneous that has nothing to do. And this, I'm going to say this outright, working with NWA's social media, there are times when I'm watching our show and like there's something I really want to put out there, like a clip, but what's being talked about during the clip has nothing to do with the clip, and it bugs the hell out of me. And that's not just a problem of NWA. That happens other places. I want to make it very clear that I'm not shitting on our company at all. I just am saying that I had the most direct experience encountering that with us. I see it other places. So when I'm working for NWA New Mexico, for example, I know the stories that we're trying to convey, so you can interweave those. And you don't have to have, for example, like if you're facing somebody that you're not feuding with, I don't have, like while I'm talking about what's happening in the ring with you and this other person, I can talk about the backstory of the tension that you have that's building with another person who's a primary player on our show, so that we get to feel that story being interwoven through a match that has nothing to do with it. And it makes the storytelling richer, because not only am I getting the fans exposed to you and whoever your opponent is, but then they're getting intrigued. If they're getting emotionally invested in you, they're getting intrigued by whatever beef you have with another person. And we're giving that other person who's not even present some airtime as well, because we are talking about them and reminding our fans that they exist. This is stories happening and evolving.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that you're talking specifically about doing these sort of larger arching things where like, if you're paying all the way attention, you'll know what's going on. But if you're not, if you're only paying attention to part of it, you still may have the hook to pull you in, or the alternate feud to pull you in. But I also think there's a bigger issue of like, you kind of mentioned the commentary not matching up to a clip, but it's like we're in a strange era where we have to use very small versions of what full wrestling matches and full wrestling shows are.
Most of my clips are like 12 seconds.
Right, to get people to pay attention.
Yeah.
And then, like, it's just the land we're in where like it's not always going to match up. But I also want to like keep us from becoming, do you get like a lot of those, maybe this is just me, on like your Instagram or TikTok streams where it's like old episodes of Law & Order SVU, but the AI voice is doing the like, and then he found out he was going to his apartment, and then he walked up the stairs. And I just want to make sure that like there is still some freedom in the pro wrestling commentary, because most of the time, like I think of, you know, Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby the Brain Heenan, where like they were constantly kind of on topic and constantly just saying the funniest or wildest or craziest things in between things, but then knowing.
But they were a masterful example of that, and not all examples are so masterful. I will say that I'm going to pat myself on the back. I'm really good with getting in a one-liner or a little zinger or some kind of funny.
But it's not your focus.
But it's not my focus.
Yeah.
And you know, I think that is very important, and I love heel commentary, but I just come from the school of thought where each person has a role to play, and they have to be cohesive. Like you can't be so into, it's the commentary version of getting your shit in. You know what I mean? Like we hear about it for wrestlers where they're like, okay, I have to do this and this because that's my thing. And it's like, well, I get that that's your thing, but you don't have to get it in. It's not pertinent. It's not like, you know.
I think people that devote themselves to commentary too, you oftentimes are going to get a really great product on it. But there are a lot of times where I hear other wrestlers doing commentary where I'm like, oh, they're just performing right now. And so,
dude, Silas Mason on commentary for NWA is so friggin' good.
Yeah.
I'm like,
give me an example. Where can I find him doing it? Like, what match did you? Are you thinking?
There was an entire episode, I think, for at the Crockett Cup. I mean, he did Kerry Morton, Alex Taylor when they were in the second round of the Crockett Cup this year, which is a few episodes back for us. He was on commentary to kind of promote that match and talk about that match and talk about the Southern Six. But like, he's just extremely good. He's wildly colorful as a person, and it plays really well.
Yeah, I think people really underestimate. Every time I talk to him, I'm like, he unlayers another. We were just looking at your beautiful drawing of Shrek, and I just kept thinking of like, ogres have layers, because I feel like every conversation I have with Silas, I learned something where I'm like, this is completely out of left field for you. And it's not. There's nothing out of left field anymore. Where like, he is a very well-read, very intelligent, very together individual who
very
also
smart.
Can just like tap into a primal thing that is unbelievable.
He is. I have to admit that I feel there was a blessing and a curse that he was still drinking when I was managing him, which made him dumb. So he was dumber when I was with him,
I think
and
he
now
was on a dumb vacation. I think he was pretending to be dumb.
He stopped the drinking, and now he's like super smart. And I'm like, I'll be trying to have a normal conversation with him by text message or something, and the next thing I know, he's like telling me about a random conspiracy theory,
or the
and
depths
I'm just
of the
like,
parallel universe.
and I'm like, yeah, sure, Silas.
No, I love it.
Absolutely.
Give it to me.
He's extremely intelligent. Like, and I think that is, I mean, I've known him for all these years, and I was shocked that how bright he is. I think it's something that's easy for people who automatically hear a Southern accent and think people are a certain thing,
or
they see a dude in a wig and automatically think that they've never watched a wrestling show ever in their whole life,
or ever gone to a freaking table.
I mean that when you talk about the commentary work that I've done, one of the biggest, it's a compliment, it's a dual-edged sword, but one of the biggest compliments I remember receiving, because it is so reflective of others that I've gotten. I did commentary on one of Dark Sheik's shows in Las Vegas a number of years ago. And this guy came up to me during the intermission period and said, when I saw that you were listed on the flyer, I thought it was just a gimmick, like that you were going to just come here because they wanted inclusion or whatever. You were just,
like you were just going to stand around and be like, look, we have a drag queen.
Yes. And then I heard you doing commentary because we were doing commentary over the PA.
Yeah. Which I heard, and Sheik especially, they're one of the few examples of when I actually like it.
I love it. Yeah.
And you did it at UGWA too, right?
I do it at UGWA all the time. Great. So he said, when I heard you doing commentary, I realized, holy shit, this person is very knowledgeable. I was like, yeah, I know as much, if not more, about wrestling than many of our wrestlers.
I feel like you watch so much classic wrestling too.
Grew up on it.
But like, even revisiting it now, we're like, in the modern age, we would never run out of wrestling to watch. If we wanted to watch new matches every single week, we would never run out of matches. But I especially saw it on Twitch when you were doing it. Just like bringing people these matches that they probably haven't seen, watching old episodes of NWA TV, where like, when you get to watching these matches, for 1 second you're like, oh, this is old. And then you go, oh, they're using so many tricks that we would consider modern. And they're doing so many spots that we would try to emulate today, where like it is really...
There's a difference between old and classic. Right? There's a difference between old and classic.
Fair. Okay.
Yeah. I mean... so when I was on Twitch, which by the way, I'm not on Twitch anymore, but you can come and find me on TikTok. We just do something totally different. Yeah. On Twitch, I was streaming a lot of classic wrestling, and we would try to do it like sequentially. So we started, for example, with 1982 Mid-South and ran it all the way through 1986 when it merged with JCP. So
Jim Crockett Promotions,
not Joe Kazana Promotions. So when they were acquired by Jim Crockett Promotions in 1986, which is when you got the introduction of people on NWA programming like Sting and many others who came from that company, the Steiners, etc. So, well, specifically Rick Steiner. Anyway, so the point being that I grew up watching that stuff. That's what I cut my teeth on, and that's what made me a wrestling fan. And I will tell you that watching some of it back, some of it doesn't age very well. The storytelling, generally speaking, does, but some of the the nuances of it. Some of the racial overtones don't age very well. Definitely like the gender and sexuality things don't age very well. But the classic storytelling elements age extraordinarily well. And it's because, yes, it's old, but it's also classic. And what I mean by that, taking it out of the context in the world of professional wrestling, the stories that Shakespeare told are classic and iconic stories. And you can modernize those, as we've seen in all kinds of teen films that are literally retellings of Shakespearean stories. The story is classic. The setting is modern. It doesn't matter. Like,
yeah, I find myself constantly watching back, like either choosing to change things I'm doing because I've been given kind of a restructuring of something that worked different, or adding to what I'm doing because I go, oh, well, I had this little bit figured out, but I'd never seen it taken to that level. And I think like I want to watch as much modern wrestling as I can, and I try to keep up with what is getting over, what is getting good, because I want to be on top. But getting to go back and go like, oh, a hip toss works if you place it correctly and time it up and build up to it. Or, you know, these old World of Sport things where you'd be like, well, what were these little dinky lads doing? And then you watch and you go, watching someone get outsmarted by wrestling in the ring and then, you know, get a comeuppance later or sneak out of a situation. These things are visibly followable for any kind of person tuning in, but it also is never insulting to the person. Like when it's good and it's really good, it's not insulting. And I think like there's a lot of wrestlers nowadays where obviously like we're showing our age and we're like, listen, we're veteran elder girls, but I think some of these kids that are not getting, you know, in the past like a Jeff Hardy time era and going back, it's like, yo, it's free real estate to go back and see how much stuff has been done well and go, yeah, we can get rid of these certain things or the way this gimmick was done. But at its core, like, you know, seeing someone do like a magistral cradle finish out of nowhere where they're doing a really fun, complicated pin and it's like sneak wrestling and it can really throw an upset to the whole balance. You can watch that from 50 years ago almost and have the same emotional feelings where you're going like, there are so many fans in our world, especially in the LGBTQ world, that they don't have the examples of seeing this before. And it's so freeing to see it work again and go, wow.
So that's the beauty of it though, Effy, because like, you know, there's that saying, everything old is new again. And it's because if you allow enough time to lapse, the generations in between forget that it ever happened. So you can do something that is tried and true, but it worked. And there are other things that are just staples that become part of the canon of something, whether it's wrestling. I mean, think about fashion. Like, doesn't matter. Blue jeans are not going to go out of style because they're classic and they work. They are something that everybody knows. Like, and there may be fashion trends that are hot for a minute and then they go out of style, but then they come back in 10 years, you know, and you get to revisit it. But I mean, again, drawing the correlation between wrestling and drag, like I stopped watching RuPaul's Drag Race because the girls that I was seeing now, they don't have any points of reference. So many of them have no point of reference other than 6 seasons before. So it's like they're replicating personalities and looks. And,
they're not doing their version of a Gautier. They're doing
of
someone's through the lens 100 times.
Yes, so it's like,
which I mean seems like the opposite of the thing we were just praising. It's sort of like things that get through. But
it's to me what that says is it's very similar to when you were like, if you don't go before Jeff Hardy, then you don't know what
you're missing.
And you know, it's like
much.
If you don't go before season 10 of RuPaul's Drag Race, you'll never know what the girls before you did. If you don't go before, I started drag before there was RuPaul's Drag Race. If you don't know what people did before they could be a television celebrity by being a cross-dresser, you will never know the possibilities of your art. So, I mean,
I feel like when we've done Big Gay Brunches, there's never been a Pollo Del Mar look that has been similar to another Pollo Del Mar look.
It's my moment.
Such a theme it to the moment, theme it to the show, do something big, make everything big. Do you think that
there's a couple of those looks, by the way, I hate, but whatever. They worked in the moment. I mean, Big Gay Brunch, the first time we were in Vegas, I had like, honey, I'd let myself go. I did. I looked like I was in my 4th trimester.
I thought you just had a juicy ass.
I had a juicy front too. Yeah, apparently, and my sides weren't that unjuicy either. So like there was a lot of juice.
I feel like, listen, I've changed weights in wrestling a lot of time, and I feel like when I look around long term at competitors, like sometimes people eat a little more than they did the few months before.
It's true.
I'm never thinking like, oh, they've lost them. I'm just going like,
girl, I'm always the baddest bitch. It doesn't matter how much weight I am.
I was
have
gonna
or
say,
don't
like,
have.
you've always
like
looked
I'm always
stunning.
the baddest bitch.
You've always been down to clown. Now I want to. It's so crazy to me that you get to write a column in PWI. Like that to me is marvelous and incredible.
Okay. I'm going to share a story that I shared before, but this is a big platform.
I haven't shared it here.
Yeah, I haven't shared it here. So when I was like 12 or 13 years old, I was sitting in my living room, and this is it dates me because it was during one of the original era of the Crockett Cup for National Wrestling Alliance. And I was sitting in my living room on a typewriter, writing up results from the Crockett Cup. In my mind, I was going to mail this off to Pro Wrestling Illustrated.
Yeah.
Which I probably actually did because I was very tenacious, even as like a 12-year-old.
You thought they wouldn't have another way to get them?
And so, well, I mean, back then they didn't.
Yeah.
You put it in the mail and they...
But you had gone to the Crockett Cup?
No. I watched it on TV.
It.
I watched
said, I'm going to film
Yes.
it. Okay.
So my mom is like, what are you doing? And I said, well, when I grow up, I'm either going to be a writer for Pro Wrestling Illustrated and I want to cover the Crockett Cup, or when I grow up, I'm going to be a manager of a professional wrestler and I want to manage them at the Crockett Cup. So this is very young me.
Yeah.
All these years ago. So then the dream seems to die because NWA goes away, Crockett Cup goes away. I like, that's not an opportunity. Luckily, PWI has been in existence all these years. I remained a subscriber to that for many years. But fast forward to what I believe to be 2023, so 3 years ago. Winston-Salem, North Carolina, we're sitting in the locker room before the show begins, and I'm about to walk out as a manager for Thrillbilly Silas Mason at the Crockett Cup, where he is challenging EC3 for the national championship. And I'm going to be covering this match in my column in Pro Wrestling Illustrated. And I just got chills just now thinking about it because I got chills at that time, and I started to cry because not many people many, many years later can look back on that moment that they told their mom when they were 12 years old, I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do this, and say, well, actually, Mom, in many years, I'm going to do both of them on the same day at the same event. So I got to live two childhood dreams in one moment in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, with the National Wrestling Alliance. So it's moments like that that make me truly loyal to NWA. I'm a loyal fan, but that moment meant so much to me because it's been something that I dreamt of my whole life.
And I know I'm cutting you off again, but I kind of want to make a bigger point here that I think you'll agree with. That, like you said, NWA went away for a while. Crockett Cup went away for a while. You're coming back to it. The way you lose the recipes is people stop cooking the meals. And so to have someone come in and go, I can express why this is important to me, and then other people can see why it's important to you. And it's like, why are things important in all of human history? Because people have given them importance. And so I think, like, as NWA is coming back in, as they're bringing the Crockett Cup back and doing more with this, and you're getting to be a part of it, you're like, well, what does it mean nowadays to be a part of that? And it's like, well, it means everything to me. And then if it does to you, you get to set the example where, like,
absolutely
future
correct.
People coming in, you go, no, don't you know about this? Don't you know about the Crockett Cup? Don't you know about NWA? And then
I do it all the time.
They get sold on what it is because it's like, things don't just stay in prominence because they're prominent.
No.
They stay there because the people are giving them the importance and giving them the respect.
Absolutely correct.
And remembering what's come before.
I am, like, Crockett Cup has always been, for example, my favorite professional wrestling event of all time. I'm a huge tag team.
Above Hell in a Cell? I'm just kidding.
Yes.
Just kidding.
Crockett Cup is an event and my favorite thing ever in wrestling. And it's because I'm such a huge fan of tag team wrestling. And I remember when I was a kid, I was like, I want to be a pro wrestling manager of a tag team. Like, that's what it was. It was a tag team. That's why Money, Power, Respect, when I purposely set out to manage a team for 5 years and along the West Coast. That was my thing.
Lots of times.
So, like, that was my thing. But for me, like, now when the beauty of it is because it's important to me, and now there are people who look to me as like somebody, this blows my mind too, like that there are people who identify me as a pro wrestling personality that they love to see.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that, but it's, it's a thing. I've accepted it. It's hard to believe, but I accepted it. And now when I get to tell it to them, like, no, this is important. Like, this is what made me want to do this. Like, they then, because they're invested in me, they want to invest in the thing that is important to me. And that's how
you want to give them 100%.
Absolutely.
I've seen you go.
Yeah.
All right. I think we're going to have you back on the show 8 more times. We're going to play a game. We're going to play a game that I don't know what the game is.
Hey, Effy, like,
I haven't been told the game.
We haven't played the game yet, but I want to just interrupt and be like,
please.
I've been part of every Big Gay Brunch except number 1.
Yeah.
And those ones in Great Britain.
Yeah.
I really want to be in Great Britain. Hello, Great Britain. Do you see me?
So I actually was going to tell you, we're going to do a little, we've got a little bit of homework to do to try to make this work because I've had multiple people asking for you in Liverpool. What is that?
I have I'm not even joking.
You don't have to tell me right now.
My TikTok following is probably like 30% from the UK because of the time I stream.
If they'll come see you, you've got to participate in the VIP meet and greet and meet and greet these people and show them the full Pollo.
You know me.
But I got to tell you, there is something really marvelous about the UK and the way they compliment people because you just will hear things about yourself where you're like, I can't tell if this is a good or bad thing, but girl, it sounds fun.
It's the accent. They can tell you to go fuck yourself, and you're like, oh, I can't wait for the ride. This sounds so enjoyable.
Okay, my lovely co-host friend Pitar has a game for us. What game do you have for us, Pitar?
Okay, while we get ready to play the game, I do have a question from our lovely Patreon.
Oh, shout out to Patreon, weekend@effys.com. They're going to get this episode much earlier than the rest of the world.
Oh, I love it.
We will hold off on that. We're going to make it magic, and you're going to be given a brand new copy of the N64 game No Mercy if you can answer the question right.
Okay.
Is it a trivia question or it's just
no,
they
it's
want
just
to
a
know
regular
something?
question.
All right, forget what I said. We'll save the
Doesn't
question
matter.
for later.
Hi, Pollo. Hi, Effy. I'm digging the vibe at NWA. Besides the Southern Six, Ricky Morton, and you two, anyone on the current roster that I should check out? Been a long time since I went on. Want to try new things.
Okay, so first and foremost, I love the fact that you're enjoying NWA Power on Comet every Saturday, 4 p.m. Eastern. That is something that we're excited that we're reaching new fans. But if you've been tuning in, you've noticed that our roster is like a very nice mix of veterans and young up-and-coming stars. So if I were to just focus on one person, I think it'd be really challenging for me to name one individual. You're probably not familiar with our NWA Women's World Champion, which is, at this time, La Princesa Tiffany Nieves. Check her out with TVMA. Greta and Miss Star. So check them out because I think that that's something you'll really enjoy. But our men's roster is like really starting to boom. We've got Damian Fenrir, who is so super athletic. And if you're part of the LGBTQ community that's men loving men, you're probably going to really like to feast your eyes on that. He's like extraordinarily
handsome.
He's
man.
an extremely handsome
Yeah,
gentleman.
They built that boy in a lab.
Yeah, so check him out. But I have to say, like, on the most recent episode of NWA Power, there's somebody that I've seen on the indies who came in. His name is Axton Ray. I was extraordinarily impressed by Axton Ray.
Axton's a physical freak.
I look forward to seeing what he is able to contribute. I know he comes from this is another reason I'm a big fan of Axton Ray. I know he comes from a competitive cheerleading background, which I also come from a competitive cheerleading background.
Whoa.
So
oh my gosh, this is actually crazy right now.
So I recognized some of the things that he was doing. Like when you're a guy and you're part of some kind of competitive cheerleading background, you get a lot of strength because you're throwing people in the air a lot.
You get a lot of strength, but also that boy is so flexible.
Yes, I don't know about that, but he impressed me a lot. Hayden Backlund just signed with us. He's a second generation star, sort of. His uncle Bob Backlund. There's so many people.
Wait, that's Shoot?
Yeah, for real.
Are you kidding me?
No, Hayden Backlund, Bob Backlund's nephew. But
this boy, I would be shouting that from the rooftops, I feel like.
Yeah,
do you think Hayden can name every president?
Probably not.
Yeah, that's what
I don't know. Alex Misery is somebody I think you're going to be watching for in the near future too.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what I love about Alex Misery. some people like Carrie Morton will tell you at every moment's opportunity that they're a second generation, or in his case, in Carrie's generation, third generation.
I thought fourth
multiple
generation.
Multiple generation superstar. Alex Misery, believe it or not, his dad is a Puerto Rican legend, and I didn't know that for the first 6 months I knew the guy. So I like the humility there, but he's also very unafraid in that kind of Darby Allin way to injure himself. He's just chaos and crazy. So look for Alex Misery. I think we're going to see a lot more from him too.
Real freaks, real love of the game shit to be compared to a Darby Allin. I got to be honest.
I mean, I don't think he's quite as insane as Darby Allin.
Now that you've said it, it's going to give him a little more oats to push it.
Yeah, he's a little kookaroo.
Oh my gosh. Now you've got me excited for what I'm going to get into. Who knows what I'm going to get into at NWA. We're going to see. We're going to see what's happening. Lucy is over here
Lucy's like, don't get into too much.
Yeah,
you got to come home.
She wants me to be safe.
Okay, are we ready to play this game?
We're totally ready.
Okay, we are going to be playing a game that Effy might be vaguely reminiscent of other games that we've played.
Okay.
Oh, shit.
We're playing pay-per-view or gay for view.
Oh, no.
And this is where I'm going to give you a title, and you have to tell me if it is a WWE pay-per-view title or the title of a 1975 or 1970s gay erotica.
Okay.
Wow. I feel like this will be pretty easy.
I think so too.
Okay.
I think we're going to do great.
All right.
Especially since I grew up watching 1970s gay erotica. Just kidding.
Okay, we are going to start with our guest. Hot House.
Hot House?
Hot House.
That's 1970s gay erotica.
You are correct.
It's also the name of a porn studio, and I know the owners.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, well, shout out Hot House. Treat your employees well.
I mean, I live in San Francisco, which is like, for years, was the capital of gay porn, so I know a lot of
There's a few spots.
Okay, Effy.
All right, I'm ready.
Over the Edge.
It's a WWE pay-per-view.
Ooh, okay, you got it.
Yes! I remember when they announced it, and I was like, this is... What a name. That's great.
Pollo.
Mm-hmm.
Fire Island Fever.
That is clearly 1970s gay erotica.
What a title. What if it was like, and I'll see you, Randy Orton, at Fire Island Fever.
Okay, Effy.
Okay, I'm ready.
One Night Stand.
What if it's both? Because it's
You're
definitely a
gonna have to say
WWE pay-per-view, but it could
What do
be...
you think it is?
I think it's a WWE pay-per-view.
It is.
You are correct.
Yes,
It is.
One Night Stand.
It wasn't an ECW's One Night Stand?
Yeah, but you can't give
Technically?
away everything. Shout out Sabo.
I don't know. I found a Wikipedia.
It was
on
a
both.
WWECW.
Okay. Hang on. Yeah, Fully Loaded.
Fully Loaded?
Fully Loaded is a pay-per-view.
Fully Loaded or Fully Loaded? Because that could be a
You are
really
correct.
crossover.
Fully
Okay.
Loaded is a pay-per-view,
So
but
far,
I'm sure
y'all
that
have
it's
not
also
been
a gay
thrown
porn.
off of this
We
at all.
I think I know the name of every WWE pay-per-view.
Okay, In Heat.
It has to be gay porn.
You're
Erotica.
correct. Damn,
Oh,
I was
erotica.
really.
These are too easy.
I'm
I've
gonna-
misjudged both the knowledge of WWE pay-per-views and
gay erotica.
Here's what I want to do. I want to do sex position or wrestling moves soon.
Okay.
I think that's going to be one that we can
Okay,
really...
so can I share a story that I don't think I've ever shared?
Wait, who won?
Nobody yet, but
Okay.
like I just
Are we-
want, this is the perfect time to throw this in
Yeah,
here.
drop it.
For 3 weeks, I worked for a gay porn company called Naked Sword, and that they had this thing called The Sword, and it was a critics column for gay porn written by somebody who had to be unnamed because the idea was to be shady and trash the porn. But I was so vicious, they fired me after 3 weeks. Because I was like writing things like, I can't believe these two fucked on grandma's couch. Or were there no rooms?
So you're coming clean that was you all those years ago?
It was only for 3 weeks.
Oh my God. Do you think they can find them? I bet we can find them.
They're on the internet. Who knows? Anyway, yeah, it was
Wow.
not my finest moment, but bitch has bills to pay.
Yeah, don't we?
It's either write about it or be part of it.
Sometimes you
and
take
when
the
live-
job in front of you to get to the job that you want, baby.
Exactly.
And you've been a part of so many jobs.
Yeah.
Do we have one more pay-per-view or porn we could do?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Pollo, this will go to you. The night before.
The night before?
Mm-hmm.
That's so random. I'm going to say the night before. I'm going to go, because of the fact you haven't given me a WWE pay-per-view event, I'm going to say that.
You are incorrect. It is a
gay erotica,
1970s gay
I think we
erotica.
need more crossover. Let's start naming
Okay.
pay-per-views
Okay.
after. Okay.
Taylor,
Yeah.
this is for you to take it home.
All right, I'm taking it home.
Name all 3 of Shrek's children.
Fergus, Farkle, and the girl, right?
Yeah.
Who is the girl? Marlena.
No, Felicia.
It has to start with an F.
Well, I didn't know it was going to happen because it's Fiona. So it's Felicia, Fiona, Farkle, Fergus, and Shrek.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for Shrek 5.
Did you know that? So Toy Story. Wait, the new Toy Story just is coming out.
Yeah.
And Taylor Swift just dropped a new song from it.
Is it good?
It's cute.
Hey,
it's
I
more
wanna ask
country
you a
than
question.
usual.
Is Taylor Swift AI?
No,
No. She's a real person.
she's a real person.
She seems like Gemini code.
I mean, the song from
He's the reason for the teardrops on my guitar. You remember that song?
Oh yeah, of course I do.
Back
like,
in the day?
Yeah, that's back when she was a really, really country. When she was a country artist. This song leans more country than her
I like
previous
when she
stuff.
was R&B.
So,
All right, I love you. This is what a blessing to have you here. I get to spend all day with you tomorrow at NWA.
I know.
Where can people find your TikTok, which is incredible?
But definitely join me on TikTok whenever you have the opportunity. It's Pollo Del Mar fans.
And that's Pollo if you're not familiar with Spanish. or
POLLODELMAR
And that's the chicken of the
FANS.
sea.
Indeed, it is. Yeah, like that's my most active social media platform. I have all the others too. You can find me on all of those. But what I truly love is I love that direct interaction when I go live with my followers on TikTok. And
Yeah.
we've fostered such an incredible community of people on the TikTok.
Yeah.
But I always say
consistency is key, and you're showing up.
that's true. I always say, we're sharing good conversation, good laughs, good vibes, good times with good music and good people. And if that is something that you feel that you're lacking in your social media presence or on your algorithm or timeline, come and follow me. And we go live every Tuesday and Thursday for sure. And then pop-ups throughout the week whenever we have time.
Let's go. I love it. Pollo Del Mar to many, many more, and we'll talk about the UK here in a minute.
Yes!
I love it.
By the way, that's also while we were doing the Twitch stream, how I strong-armed him. Actually, Zicky Dice strong-armed him into getting me on Big Gay Brunch. That very
Is that
same way.
true?
Yes, it is.
Oh
Zicky
my
was
God.
like, hey, Effy, you said you wanted a drag queen for Big Gay Brunch. Well, there's one who's in wrestling and in our home right now.
Wow.
And that's how I got booked on Big Gay Brunch too. So
I don't
I
even
decided to
remember this.
ambush
Incredible.
his ass right now on Weekend at Effy's
Yeah.
because I want to go to the UK.
People are gonna figure out that's actually the way you get things done with me. Is you just ambush me and it happens.
I know.
Shh, don't let them know. Don't let them know the secret. All right, hell yeah. I'm gonna do an intro here.